The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem.
The horses are now nearing the starting gate.
And they're off.
As the field comes into the stretch.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aqueduct. Bright sunshine on this Sunday. The temperature will be right around 40 degrees, and the main track is fast. We have 8 races today, and no changes to report in races 1, 2, or 3. Moving to the 4th, a couple of scratches there. Scratch 3, Inscom, and 4, Honorable Service. Scratch 3 and 4, and there will be no show, trifecta, or superfecta wagering on the 4th. In race 5, scratch the 4, Big Mountain. Scratch number 4, Big Mountain. There are no changes in the 6th. The 7th race is the Biagio's Rose Stakes. Scratch number 4, Lucky Move. Scratch the 4. And in today's 8th race, scratch number 9, Forgotten Mission. Scratch the 9, Forgotten Mission. Main track is fast. We'll return at 12:50 to recap the changes. Today's first race post will be at 1:20. Up next, Serling and Stabile. They are talking horses.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Horses. Big A Anthony Stabile.
I wish you'd have said morning. Harassing me before the camera comes on.
Deserved it. Don't worry, I'll harass you while the camera's on too.
No
so.
red light. The red light wasn't on. The guy started already.
There isn't a red light on this thing, is there?
Oh yeah. Wow. How about that?
You
The
really
spot's
observed
there
it.
for it, but it's not on.
Claude sends me a signal. I can just sort of feel it.
Telepathy.
Talk about yesterday's big day in a moment. But before getting to that, let's head over to NYRABets.com.
You got to play today. You got to play
Exactly.
today.
It's exactly right, Anthony. I appreciate that.
It's all over. Yesterday is yes. Yesterday's in the past.
And if you're not a member of NYRABets, head to NYRABets.com. We'll match them to $200 deposit bonus. Use the promo code MATCH200. Today we are offering, let's always love these. So what is it? You bet 10 to win on either one. You can bet on both if you want, by the way. And if you finish second in either one. Now, here's my problem with this. What if you bet on both and you finish second? Do you get...
Sometimes there's a cap. Sometimes they let you do both.
No, it's not a cap. It's $10 in other words. My assumption is you only get your $10 back on one of them. But it is a little bit confusing.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes there's a cap.
What do I know? Anyhow, we're on 1:30 to 6:30. America's Day at the Races.
Lots of action.
FS2. I'll
A lot
be
of
on
Oakland
early
on
with
there?
Maggie. So let's talk about the Gotham.
Fun day yesterday. Those were some good races here yesterday.
I agree. It was a fun day. It felt like the first day of some really good racing here during the day, and I think that all the stakes had solid performances from everybody in there. Hunter Buyer for Chateau. We'll take a look at the stretch run of the Gotham yesterday, and you and I were talking a little bit off the air. I don't think either of us expected Wayburn to win. He was an awfully big price at 46 to 1. A game performance, crowded trade for a second-time starter. Thought he ran very well. He didn't get left as badly, but obviously if he had broken, I thought Eric Cancel gave him a terrific ride getting him the game. Probably highly motivated, would have won with a cleaner trip. But I think he ran well for his first start off the layoff, too. And this was a very solid race.
Yeah, very good race. Crowded trade, like you said, probably best yesterday afternoon. Highly motivated, a little.
Well, he got steady in the backstretch.
Little traffic
he
up the
didn't break,
inside.
and then he got steadied. I mean, those are
Yeah.
both legit excuses. I'm not saying he was an hour the best.
No.
Race got a 95 Buyer speed figure. It was a fast race.
Fast race.
But I thought it was a very good effort for his first start a mile off a layoff, given the trouble.
Good effort by all. Fun race to watch. As a fan, obviously came on the losing end of a photo. But yeah, for a horse that, had been rumored from the beginning to be a nice horse.
I bet him in his second start at
Jerkins.
14 to 1.
Yeah.
That was a nice loss.
Yeah, that was the Wolfies. We haven't seen him, right?
No, he's in the witness protection program. I think
Okay.
he's somewhere in Arizona under an assumed
That's
name working at
the big horses. That's Sadler's Joy's
like
little
a
brother.
restaurant or something.
We haven't seen him since then. Wolfie's Dynamo or something. Yeah, but Wayburn came back. The Breakers made it in the mud the next time, and then that was a good effort yesterday. Handled a couple of I'll tell you what we've seen here this winter, now that Highly Motivated made his 3-year-old debut here, the red and white of Klarovich and Chad Brown, they have 3 really nice 3-year-olds on their hand. The 2 that ran yesterday, and you add in the Withers winner, Risk Taking, who has kind of transformed since stretching out to 9 furlongs and the blinkers. And you have to think the New York route to the Derby goes through Chad and Klarovich stables.
Well, I don't know about that. I think you're dramatically overrating Risk Taking based on what we've seen from him so far. I saw you had him second in your Derby list, and I actually chuckled. He's a nice horse.
I like distance horses.
He's got to but he's got to improve significantly. He'll be everybody's Belmont horse and run 5th. He's just not fast enough at this point to be competitive.
At this point, correct.
We saw a horse, Life is Good, run a 107 Buyer, and we'll get to him in a minute, but I do think these horses are solid that we've seen, yesterday. They're nice horses, but whether or not they're 1.25 mile horses is another question. You really think Highly Motivated is a 1.25 mile? Do we really think Crowded Trade are necessarily 1.25 mile horses? I'm a little skeptical of that. They're both good horses. Whether they're Derby horses or they're more likely Woody Stevens, Alan Jerkins types horses, I don't know. Now, Risk Taking obviously will have no problem with distance, but he's going to have to get faster if he's going to be effective in Triple Crown races.
But and all I'm saying is, from what we've seen, I do believe it will go through Chad and Clark.
What,
It's here
about
in New York.
what about Brooklyn Strong? I know he hasn't run, but his Remsen was very, very good, and he could well come back in the Wood Memorial, and I don't
And that's the
think
plan,
he should be
but
taken lightly.
That's a long break between.
I get it, but there's a lot of racing left to do, and I want to like risk taking. I think he's a nice horse, but he's a long way from showing that he's a major Derby contender at this point. What he is another horse with a chance on the Derby trail, among others. He's more likely to win than Helium, but he's not as likely to win as Life is Good or Essential Quality or even Greatest Honor at this point. And I'm a little bit skeptical about Greatest Honor.
I'll tell you this. He's 43-1 right now in the future pool, risk taking.
Well,
I haven't made a bet in that pool
there is somebody
in a long
that could
time.
influence those odds. But
I haven't made a bet in those pools in a very long time. I'm taking 43-1 later on today.
That's fine. He probably is about 38-1, so you're not getting the worst of it. Maybe he's 39-1. He's not 20-1 to win the Derby. I'll tell you that.
Not right now. No,
He's not.
Right. No.
Now, Life is Good is a significant Derby favorite after yesterday's race.
I would agree
He's
with that.
just so much faster than these horses. I mean, at this point in his career, he's better than Justify. He's better than American Pharaoh. That doesn't mean that his drifting out isn't an issue, and it doesn't mean he's going to win the Derby. And that nonsense of saying he saw he must be the Superman. He must come from Krypton to have somehow seen that board while he was going around the turn. He's got eyes all over the place. He's got mirrors on the top of Santa Anita. It's nonsense.
I'm going to tell you what.
I'm not just saying he drifts out and it's something we should deal with.
I don't like the fact that there seems to be an answer. It's like watching those old westerns when they're going to go out of the OK Corral. They are quick to their holster with an answer for these questions.
It's just baloney trainer speak and jockey speak. The reality is, this is a very, very good horse. I mean, his race yesterday was laughably good. I mean, his race yesterday is so much better than any race that anybody's run in this crop. I mean, you like risk-taking. His race yesterday would have beaten risk-taking by a comfortable 10 or 12 lengths.
You're not wrong. He's going to have to, and they keep talking about how they're going to try to get him to relax and to slow down. And, obviously that wasn't going to happen from the rail with the long run up for the first time from the mile.
I don't know what post it's going to happen.
That's what I'm trying to do. Right, I know. And at some point, are you just going to have to cave to the fact that you're just going to have to let this horse roll along on the front end?
Justify went pretty quick early.
I'm not saying but I'm saying at some point.
Every horse doesn't have to race.
I don't.
Saddle Slew didn't break, and he rushed up and gunned up the lead. I'm not saying he's going to Seattle Slew, but he's better than Seattle Slew was as a 3-year-old. I'll tell you that.
I'm curious, Andy, what happens when he gets headed.
Well, he may never get headed. I'm not.
Maybe he doesn't.
I'm not anointing him the Derby winner at this point by any
You're
stretch
not
of
somebody
imagination.
that does that,
but this is a horse. He separated himself from the field.
Well, 2 of his 3 figures are faster than anything Essential Quality has ever done.
And now he ran a 107 buyer yesterday.
Going into yesterday, Essential Quality was the leader, and then he took that right away from him.
Yeah, see, I didn't think he was. I thought Essential Quality was in a blob of horses that could win. I'm going to tell you something about Essential Quality. I know the track was muddy and all these things, but he seemed to handle it. It bothers me that he runs the same figure basically every time he runs. He's got a little Mohame in him at this point. Essential Quality to me, let me finish, has got to run a faster race in the Arkansas Derby for me to take him seriously. Otherwise, I'm going to say that he's just a horse that hasn't gotten better. Let me finish, and I'm not saying he won't get better. Just relax. He is a horse that everybody's anointing because he won the Breeders' Cup. He's gotten unbelievably perfect trips in all of his races, and he's not always going to get perfect trips, sort of like Pete's play call yesterday.
I don't necessarily agree with the Mohayman comparison. I'm going to tell you why.
I didn't compare him to Mohayman. I said if he doesn't get faster in his next start, he's comparable to Mohayman.
Yeah, he's done some things differently than Mohayman by running on different surfaces. I think I can forgive the fact that he didn't improve.
Mohayman won at Belmont, Aqueduct, and Gulfstream.
Right, but he's
won on 2 surfaces. Keeneland and Oakland.
He paired. He run.
I want to see him improve from 2 to 3.
He was made in a Churchill, didn't he?
Whatever. I'm
just saying. What I'm saying is, but last time he was asked
ran 3 tracks like Mohayman.
He was asked to deal with the slop for the first time. He was asked to deal with the layoff for the first time.
But he handled the slop.
Yeah, I don't think he handled that track that well.
Oh, yeah, right. Like Maxfield didn't handle this track yesterday. He ran the exact same figure he always runs.
Maxfield, I mean, that was
that was embarrassing to have anointed him as some sort of super horse. We'll take a look at the Busher. You and I disagree about all this stuff. I'm not saying that Essential Quality isn't a Derby contender. He is one, but I think people are overrating him. This was a terrific horse race. I know these two horses went relatively slowly early, but they ran fast late, and both of these horses are very nice horses.
Yeah, no question about it. Truth of the matter is, the winning filly, search results, I think you got to move her effort up. I did not expect Miss Brazil to kind of just be left alone to her own devices on the front end.
Yeah, I know. You see pace duels in every race.
I was not. I mean, there's a difference between a pace duel and between one horse just getting loose on the lead. But that filly, I mean, both of those fillies ran bang-up efforts. The winner, I mean, I don't think you can say enough nice things about the winner.
She's 67-1 in the Kentucky Oaks pool right now. If you bet 20, she'll be 40-1.
Well, that's the problem, right? The other pool has enough money in there where you can bet a few dollars and not affect it too much. But yeah, the Oaks pool's a little lighter. That was a big race yesterday.
And I'm going to say that the 3-year-old crop, which has some good runners, and I know we're talking a lot, but I think we can get through these 8 races relatively quickly. That complexion of that race has changed. There's nobody in California. The 2 good horses, well, Princess Nora wasn't a good horse, but the overrated. But that Midnight, that other horse
she was
good.
okay.
She got
They're
hurt
both
first
gone. Yep.
She's not running, and Vequist was a complete and total no-show. Yeah, Bill Mott's horse had some trouble in there, but she didn't run a step.
I don't know what day out of the office
could have run in there, so, you know, hopefully we see her soon, but we haven't. So that division right now is a little bit in flux.
Honeybee result yesterday didn't really, I don't think it's going to scare you away.
Who won in there?
The filly that won the Martha's Washington, Will Secret, Dallas Stewart.
I think it's nice
Came back to back.
They have a race named for an old friend of ours who passed away.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get the Santa Isabel today out at Santa Anita. There's the Oaks Points on the line.
There's nobody out there.
It's 3 Baffords versus 2 Mike McCarthy's, and that's the entire field.
There's
nothing.
No
it looks like the Oaks will come from this side of the country for sure.
But it's also much more open. It's not just that. It's that they're just the horses. They just, you know, there's been disappointments and retirements from some top end horses, and I know that Simply Ravishing is working out as well for Kenny as a Swiss Guide.
The other filly, you know, that Crazy Beautiful, the other McPeak filly, she ran okay in the Devona Dale.
Yeah, she could definitely be 8th in the Kentucky Oaks. No, if there's 10 horses in there, she's got 6th to 8th. I mean, if they've got an octafecta, you've got to have her in the 6th to 8th slot. Stop
this guy doesn't
stop it. She was a distant second in that race, the Devona
Dale. Yeah, that was a weird race.
Yeah, it was a weird race. No. It was a bad race. Anyhow, weird, bad. I lost my train of thought on something. I was going to say, any chance Swiss Skydiver is pointing towards the Apple Blossom?
I don't know. It's been kind of cryptic, right?
I hope she is. I really hope she is.
Get the rematch that we never
Race
really got in the
number
distaff.
1. I know you've been waiting this, and sorry to delay you for race number 1. I think Anthony and I both like the horse that finished 3rd in this race, Qualifying Offer, not the horse that finished 2nd, Vienna Code, who picked up the pieces for 2nd. Qualifying Offer is going to continue a trend of extraordinarily heavy favorites likely winning the first race, something we've seen on Friday, Saturday, and we're going to see here. This horse is the speed, and this horse is going to win, and it's not going to be 3 to 5.
No. I was going to say, can I get that 3?
No.
Can we stamp the 3 to 5
Not
now?
for me, you can't.
Yeah, for everything you said.
You can get 230 from me. You can get 230 right now.
230 might be a bargain when all's said and done.
I'm not saying I was making a good bet.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be generous.
That was
that's
nice.
the kind of guy
very nice of you. I mean, you're going to get a dry track today for the first time.
If you don't like her,
well, I don't know who you like.
Dry track, wet track, but I mean, I got the first time starter 2nd because I don't want any of the others.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Race number 2. So
this is why we were able to talk so much to start the show today, folks.
We've got it under control. Just trust us. At the end, maybe we'll talk about the Santa Anita handicap and the Maxfield debacle. I think Maxfield's a really nice horse. I just don't think he's the deity that some people have anointed him. And as you know, I've always felt that Mystic Guide was a better horse than Godolphin horses.
And neither the 1 or the 8 to hit the late pick 4 there in the kill row.
I'm sorry.
Came 2-1-8.
2 looked pretty good on paper, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh. First grade 1 win for Dan Blacker. That was nice.
Yeah, congratulations.
That was great. Yeah, that was really great. Happy for Christina, so that was nice. Race number 2, Sweet Mia, we've got on top. Go ahead.
What do we call it? What did I goof on? Process of attrition pick yesterday?
I don't trust this horse in here. Obviously, I have a stat for Michelle Nevin. She does have very good numbers taking these big drops. She was not good last time. I'm not going to defend her. She's taken a big drop second off. The problem is, as we go to the replay of Manny Petty, and this is her winning 2 races back, and listen, this would be back-to-back days of Zivos winning races. He could well be on his way to being a top sire. Is he still a sire, Zivo?
No, I believe
Cherie
Cherie DeVoe has him as a...
Well, Tom may want to take him.
Pleasure
You
horse.
know, if he got back-to-back wins at Aqueduct, Tom may want to take him away.
He went 8 in a row that time, 9 in a row.
I don't know.
Suburban was a great
The reality is, though, and Manny Petty did run well in the late race 2 back. Cuts back 6.5 furlongs. I don't know.
This doesn't bother you as much as it bothers me, but I think that's the biggest knock on her today, right? The distance.
No, that's something I find silly, and it's proven time and time again not to matter.
Well, her best sprint figures are 51, and she's run a pair of 60s and a 63 going a mile in the last 3 of the last 4
I'm
starts.
not concerned. I think she's improved.
Okay.
I just do. We'll see. Nothing. She's the other horse. I mean, I guess the
I think it gives. You see, in my mind, the distance issue gives Sweet Mia a decided advantage over her. But yes, she is the second horse.
Well, I wouldn't want Sweet Mia going a mile in here probably, but I don't know. Maybe she's just better than these. Listen, if Sweet Mimi can still run it all, she's going to win. If she can't, she won't.
Mia.
I mean, what did I say, Mimi?
Yeah, you got Miss. You're confusing her with Miss.
I get names wrong all the time. I'm surprised I
But
remember your name.
Can Appletini just try and?
No. She could try.
All right.
Well, where's her good race? Why? She's faster than Sweet Mimi?
No, she's not supposed to be.
Mia.
But Mia.
Mia.
She's faster than Sweet Mimi.
I'm thinking that Mimi is, well, Miss Mimi. I got Miss Mimi on my brain. Yeah, I think Appletini. Appletini's last race was so bad, it was almost embarrassing. Yeah. I mean, she was loose on a gold rail, and she lost in a 4-horse field. She's just not.
Okay.
She wins. I'll put it this way. She wins, I lose. I think any day is her day can win this race. I don't know. Her race 2 back's good enough to win. Maybe she didn't want any moisture in the track last time. You're Mr. Moisture. Yeah. Her race 2 back is fast enough to win here. They were better. I mean, look who she ran with 2 back. You tell me if she runs her race 2 back, she can't win here?
She can. She absolutely can. She absolutely can.
I would use her. I'd use 2, 4, and 5 in this race.
Okay.
You're going to use 1, 2, 4. Mm-hmm. Don't cry to me when any day is hurt. Can I bet you a lunch that the 5 beats the 1? Well, you won their 2-to-1 bet. They were both the same price. You should be ashamed of yourself. Actually, I'm the idiot, not you. I'm the idiot, not you.
Sure.
I knew I was falling in a trap because I knew that you weren't wrong about Share the Ride.
2 weekday, the short rest.
Yeah, he didn't get bet, and he was brutal.
Done.
So I have 5 over 1.
Yeah.
We can bet 2 lunches.
We'll do for 1.
Okay. You sure?
This is already, I feel like charity. I'm going to be on the chaser on the lead, and you're going to be just trying to gobble her up. It's fine. It's fine. 3rd race.
It's fine. You sure it's fine?
It's fine.
You're okay?
This is like, we did this again?
I just want to make sure you're okay. So.
Why did I get gypped out of a 4th pick here?
Yeah, that's not right.
Oh, when did that scratch come in?
What scratch?
Exalted Charms out, thankfully.
Well, I send a 5th pick.
I did too. Yeah, 6, 4, 5, 2, 3.
Well,
there should be a 3 on the end, just like Andy's picks. Same picks.
Oh, can we bet a lunch on the odds here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I think that the 4 is going to be favored.
So we're just going 4 versus 6. Who's favored? I got the 6.
It depends.
Who are we going to see? Oh, yeah.
We're going to see Dynamic One. This is Dynamic One finishing 2nd to Greatest Honor. And I don't have a problem if he were to run. If this was his last race, he'd be a substantial favorite. I know you agree with that.
He'd be 2 to 5 off this race.
I did not like his last race.
Problem is, he has a race after that we're not showing where he was awful.
He wasn't awful. He was incredibly disappointing. And you just get the feeling with this horse that he could be going the wrong way. He could be a horse that was geared up to win early. He was a short prices debut. He ran the Wolfie's Dynamite race. He ran the Wayburn race.
Dyna Ghost.
By the way,
we
Wayburn.
both got it wrong twice. Dyna Ghost. We got it right now.
Whatever.
Whatever.
By the way, Wayburn, another cigar mile winner, he won a grade 3 yesterday in the Gotham. He's got to win a grade 1 to add his name to that illustrious list.
I got you.
It's kind of cool, though. Yeah. He got left that day, so we can give him an excuse. He ran very, very well in the race we just showed. Last time out, he really had no excuse, and he didn't finish up. And now he's got to get a mile and 1/8.
Now he's got to get a mile, and that ultimately, how far does this horse want to go? Is it a mile and 1/8? Now look, he's taking on 4 other horses. So
now my friend Steve says that he was wide versus a good rail last time. And he's paying a lot more attention to Gulfstream than I am, contrary to what people seem to think on Twitter. I'm not paying any attention to their races. We just happened to watch that race because you liked another horse in there. Is that the race that you liked, Gargan?
Gargan.
Yeah, you like Gargan. Yeah, that was, yeah.
American law.
Right.
Yep.
So, Moot Solemn. See, here's the negative on him as we show him. And listen, he lost to Promise Keeper, who ran a very good last in the slow Tampa Bay Derby yesterday, which doesn't flatter this race. There were a number of first-time stars that ran 2, 3, 4 in this race. But even, I was talking about this race with Chad Brown. I'd already picked this horse. And he said, doesn't it concern you a little bit that maybe he's just a horse that ran better in the slop? And he's not down on him, because he said, I liked him going to the race. He wasn't saying that as a negative. He said he wasn't surprised he ran reasonably well in there. He just said, should we be concerned that it's a wet track? Now, I'm not as concerned about that stuff as you guys are, but I think you have to factor it in.
I mean, I guess you do, but this horse doesn't have an overwhelming wet track pedigree, does he?
Well, he's got more of a
turf pedigree,
turf
right?
on the other way, I guess, But
and I think
Union Rags and Chad Brown's going to go to his grave having tried as hard as any trainer in history to make Union Rags a turf sire.
It's unbelievable.
I was teasing him. He had some horse the other day, and I said to him, "You will die on the hill of making him."
I think he secretly owns them. I think he's trying to make him a turf
really
sire.
Is funny. I don't know.
I think along with the turf comes hand-in-hand distance. And I think this horse, I think that's where this horse's big edge is. Whether it was the wet track or not last time, if you and I seem to be on a similar page that maybe Dynamic One doesn't want to go on.
No, I don't have a distance
does.
issue with Dynamic One at all. I don't like his last race. And I'm afraid he was a horse that's just not going in the right direction, whereas I think that Mutasalam can improve.
I mean, for me, it's a distance thing because in his last 2 races, he's kind of losing ground at the end of these races. So he's flattening out a little bit.
He lost ground to Greatest Honor, who came back and won the Holy Bull in the...
No.
Let me say
he did it again next time, Andy.
Well, if my friend Steve's right and it was a good rail, then he has a viable excuse. And he didn't do it in the Greatest Honor race. He didn't lose ground. Another horse passed him. A horse that won the Holy Bull and the Fountain of Youth is probably one of the top 3 or 4 choices. If he wasn't in the race, you wouldn't have a distance question. And
track or no track, last time I'll tell you this. As I bet the race, I bet the second horse. He never looked like he was winning last time. He never looked like he was winning.
So, as far as Gold Bear, I would be very careful about throwing out Gold Bear. I know he ran just a few days ago, but this horse got bet in his first start, and he made a big wide run in the turn on a Super Gold rail track in a race that was wired, and he's a pioneer of the Nile. I said it before the race. I couldn't believe he was even money ready to prattle. He was a pioneer of the Nile, going to win 6 furlongs on that racetrack.
You said that, yeah.
And now he's stretching out. I would not, playing pick 5s, I use this horse.
I didn't love what I saw from him. I know it was against the racetrack.
He's got to get a lot better, but he had no shot in that race.
Listen.
Let me put it this way. If you and I are right that maybe Dynamic One is not going the right direction, and Chad's horse moved up on a sloppy track, maybe this race isn't going to be that tough.
This also certainly looks like this could very well be Gold Bear making this race go for Dynamic One.
Well, no. It's true and untrue. It's probably some of it. But they wanted to run this horse long first time. They just wanted to give him a race.
But his pedigree, you're supposed to want to run him long. Like you said, you don't want to run him short. But
I think one of the things is that Todd Pletcher has horrendous numbers. I think he's 1 for a zillion with first-time starters and routes.
I mean, this is...
So he probably wanted to get a race in
this,
his back.
10 days? This is quick. Todd Pletcher never does this.
Let me ask you a question. Was his last race more of a workout or a race?
Well, the way that... Listen...
I'm sure that Todd
Pletcher
ideally didn't want to run it back
playing,
in 10 days.
He had no chance.
Right.
So...
It's 9 days, by the way.
It's 9 days.
No, I'm sure that ideally neither Jordan, who owns him, Jordan Wyckoff, or Todd Pletcher want to run back in 9 days. But when's the next time they're going to get a chance to run a 1:08 maiden race in the dirt?
No. I understand. I understand.
And I heard he came back to the race and he didn't even blow and he ate his whole dinner. Isn't that the trainer line for the horses? They wasn't blowing.
But we both agree on one thing. He made a little bit of a run that day. So it's not like he didn't run.
He was way against the track.
That's the problem.
He was
the
way
problem
against
is
the
he tried. And when you got to come back in 9 days for a barn that's not accustomed to doing that.
Yeah. I bet Todd Pletcher's numbers coming back on short rest aren't that bad because he probably doesn't do it.
Well, he doesn't do it a lot, but I mean, Syndergaard won that time when he came back on the short rest. There was another turf horse that won down at Gulfstream recently. So, yeah, I mean, but there's a difference between established stakes horses and turf marathoners than there is between a horse going 6 and now a horse going 9.
Race number 4. What are the chances of Aristocratic wiring this field? This is a weird one. This horse was claimed in September at Saratoga and comes back 6 months later, to the day. How about that?
To the day.
To the day.
I noted that.
And I don't have an issue with somebody claiming a horse like this and saying, you know what, we want to give him a little time. So we only run 3 races off a 5-month break and bring him back in the winter at Aqueduct when the racing might be a little bit easier. I have no issue with that. She's bringing this horse back in March. Can you trust
Didn't
this
get the
horse?
whole winter. Gets to run for the
How
waiver.
this horse 4th out of 6.
Gets to run for the waiver because it is 6 months to the day. So it is over 180 days. Gets to run for the waiver. This horse is not in for a tag today. Listen, here's my problem with this horse. This horse got to go 7.
What's your problem with this horse?
The horse got to go 7 off the 6-month layoff. And I'm not looking to criticize anyone, but this is another one. You're working these horses that haven't run in 6 months a mile to run 7.
Where's the mile work?
152.
When? Oh,
The
yeah.
second work, I mean,
Is that a work?
handle,
That sounds like a gallop.
you can't handle these horses. And this is, this is something you see from
You know what would be my dream? In an alternate universe, honestly, and I know you're all going to agree with this. If Anthony was a trainer and he had a favorite going into the Derby, that would be the most
What do you
entertaining.
mean?
Your interviews before the week or 2 leading up to the race would be the single most entertaining thing in history.
All of my interviews would be entertaining. That's number one.
You're too young to remember Johnny Campo leading up to Pleasant Colony in the Derby, but those were some. I mean, I tell you what, he guaranteed everybody he was going to win. I mean, that guy.
I did.
But and he was right. But they were tremendous.
I did a story for Blood Horse on his 20th anniversary. I guess it would be back in 2001, and I saw some of the old interviews. And
Tremendous, right?
It was unbelievable.
He would.
He was great.
That would be you.
He grew up. John and his brother Sal, when they both rest in peace, grew up 4 houses away from my dad. So I know the Campo since in a stroller. But yes, he was. They would be John Campo-esque, no question about it. My interviews would be sensational.
You would be legendary.
My interviews would be
Nick
sensational.
Zito and Dale Romans would have nothing on
Nothing.
You would be
More
legendary.
Dale than I would think. More Dale than Nick.
They're both legends.
Yeah,
they're both legends.
No
But you would be must-see TV. I mean,
Nick,
you would have a crowd around you like nobody had ever seen.
After the 01 Belmont, and I can tell this story because Nick and I laughing. After the 01 Belmont, Eric Donovan and I went back to the barn to talk to Nick. I was doing a Derby diary for
Who
New
won
York
the
Post
01
at the time.
Belmont?
But it was Point Given. But we were doing the diary at the Post with Nick, who had AP Valentine. Nick fell asleep on us while we were interviewing him.
Well,
Sitting
that's
in
no
the back.
surprise.
Eric,
I fall asleep talking to you guys all the time,
Eric
too.
and I just looked at each other. He gave a couple of snore. I'll never forget it. With his head back against the office, and he popped up about 90 seconds later. Where were we, guys? And we just finished the interview.
I have a
and we
similar
left.
Nick Zito story. Nick and I were having dinner at the Garden City Hotel once, which is, anyone that knows where it is, it's exactly across the street from the Long Island Railroad.
Long Island Railroad, yep.
And I live in the city, so I take a train back. And, I mean, it's literally, you could walk there in 2 minutes.
I could walk there in 2 minutes.
It's not even, like, I could run there in 45 seconds, and I could even run there.
I could run there in 3 minutes.
It's so close.
I could walk in 2 and run there in 3.
So the train was at, like, they're every hour, and it was like 7:37, let's say. It was 7:37 and 8:37. So literally at 7:25 to 7:30, I said to Nick, listen, the train's coming in a few minutes. I'm happy to stick around. You want to hang out and shoot the breeze and, have some dessert or something and do that, or I can take the train. He goes, no, let's hang around. I said, great. At about 7:40, he said, I'm going to turn in. I could have walked there in 2 minutes, and I did.
That's great.
Anyhow, race number 4, who do you like in here? Well, we disagree in every race, so creative style. Why not change here? Well, who'd you pick here?
I picked Creative Style.
So why do you like him?
What are you going to do? I mean,
Why do you like him? Don't give me what are you going to do.
I don't want Ryan's Cat. We obviously just.
Well, let me
I
ask
just
you a
told you I
question
don't
about
want
Ryan's Cat. You sure he's not going to be in front here?
No, I don't know.
I'm not sure he's not going to be in front.
I don't know what's going to go on.
I'm using Ryan's Cat.
Yeah, I'm using the 1 and the 5, but as far as making a pick, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have Creative Style cutting back to the 7.
Well, Creative Style was wide against a good rail last time.
Yeah.
It was 2, 3, 4, 5 wide last time. So that's the reason to like him. The worry with him is he's ex-Danny Gargan, to be honest with you. That's the concern with him. That's why I'm using Ryan's cat. I want to use Ryan's cat off the Rudy claim.
I want to use Ryan's cat too, but I'm
Davis could be in front
to
here.
use your word, I'm a little dubious of him getting the 7.
What if he gets in front of the other horse?
Well,
I have no confidence in the other horse getting the lead here.
That's
all I'm saying.
I would imagine Louis Cardenas is in a dead send to get to the top in here, but I could be wrong. And for those reasons, I like Creative Style to win race 4 at Aqueduct today.
Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate that. You get like a B-. We'll take a
Beautiful.
break. We'll be back for the second half of the card.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. The big A, Anthony Stabile.
Hello.
Race number 5. Well, I got to think it's all relevant. We'll take a look at his last race. He's very happy with the scratch of Big Mountain. But this was another race where the rider made an error. Because if the rider had not drifted with this horse, and it's not like the horse was drifting because he stayed in the 2-path the whole stretch. If he hadn't given up the rail to Trevor McCarthy, by the way, congrats to Trevor on a big win yesterday with Wayborn.
Great
I
ride.
haven't mentioned that.
2637, by the way, should be the pick, guys. 2637 for me.
Okay. But with the scratch,
Yes.
it does change. It's all relevant. I don't really trust this horse. I don't really like this horse, but
I had him 3rd, and I moved him up to 2nd after the scratch of Big Mountain because he's supposed to have the run of the race
what do you
now.
possibly like about Hammer and Aimer?
I don't trust. Well, you know, it's funny.
What do you like about Hammer and Aimer? Don't start that. I don't trust.
Well,
what do you like about him?
I like the fact that before the scratch, he was going to get some pace to run into because those are
No, he
two horses
wasn't.
that need it. Okay.
There's never any pace here, so stop with that argument. Anthony.
He was able to pick him up.
I love you dearly, but stop with these
He
going to
was
get pace
able to pick
argument.
these horses up last time.
On a gold rail.
Yeah, listen, I don't trust these horses.
He was
I
able
don't
to pick him up in a
trust them.
$10,000 claimer in a gold
I
rail.
thought about putting Creative Plan on top. I decided against it.
I had him 2nd.
Yeah,
I
I
thought Big
went to
Mountain.
Hammer and Aimer figuring he could pick some horses up like he did last time. I think he found his friends down at this level, and you know,
It's not this level. He was running at 10,000, and this is 16, and he was on a gold rail.
I believe that
Bluegrass Cat Smile, it was an $8,000 claim that had a wide trip and still almost beat him.
you wouldn't like Bluegrass Cat Smile in here.
I don't know. Depends. You know, I'd like Bluegrass Cat Smile if he was
Well, yeah.
running it like the Suburban.
Congratulations on Meb's web, by the way. I think
Thank you.
a race like this, if this, you could put.
You know what?
You
I
could put a
think your
10 tag.
new-
You could put an 8 tag. You could put a 16
I disagree
tag.
with you. I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree completely.
All right.
I completely disagree with that. We'll get to that. I'm going to tell you, your new best friend, Wayne Potts, he would still like you if you didn't pick this horse. I just want you to know that I've spoken to him
I was picking yesterday,
telepathically,
man.
and he would still like you if you didn't pick this horse. But you've got Runabout, who was claimed from Wayne for 16, who's dropping from 32.
I have the horse. I scratched into the horse 4th. It's a scratch
I
into
do not
4th.
think this is a 10. I don't think this is a 10. What about Creative Plan? The thing about Creative Plan is, you know, I don't like to give sloppy track his excuses. He ran so badly in that race that either he's completely crippled and can't run anymore, which, by the way, is an entirely a possibility, no question about
And
it.
it was a voided claim off that race.
I
But
totally
hold on.
agree. Well, because he lost by 30
25
lengths,
yeah,
right?
forget
So,
that.
so that's I thought the
But
same.
he did win in the mud, so that's. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
he won at the
wet
Mud of
tracks are
Canterbury,
different.
Little Lone Star, 2 different wet tracks.
Yeah.
He's got races that'll beat these horses. I'm hoping he remembers it. I don't love him in here. I thought Big Mountain laid over this field. The Queen's Jewels actually had a significant trip last time out. I just don't think this horse is possibly good enough to win here. But I'm not going to leave the Queen's Jewel out of the claim of Chris Engelhart. Think about that Chris Engelhart horse got bet the other day off the claim. I know he got a good trip to win, but I want to use his horses. You know, Beach Access, another one, he's dropping back, but he had the run of a race against a weak field when he won. He can obviously win. it's all relevant, can win. But the problem is he really needs a hustling ride. And he's got a rider that's not that great at getting the lead, but his main speed threats, well, see, let me ask you a question. Isn't Kendrick supposed to be sending the Queen's Jewel going a mile?
Coming out of the sprints on the inside.
Kendrick looks at this race and he thinks, I can be in front in this race, right? Not that that's a big advantage.
There are. I thought there was some wild cards, and I'll tell you what, he's not going to be on a lead, but I can't imagine Creative Plan's going to be too far away from things either. I think Trevor's going to get this horse into the race.
Yeah, I don't. Well, it's such a totally different race without Big Mountain in there. It
because
becomes
Big Mountain stretches the mountain.
He could have been 3 lengths in front of those horses.
There's nobody to stretch the field out right now. It's All Relevant doesn't have that speed anymore. So.
Right.
There was a time where he had more speed than Big Mountain did. That day doesn't exist anymore. And now with Big Mountain out of here, they're going to bunch a lot more than they would have with a horse like Big Mountain out in here to stretch them out. It kind of brings everybody into the race a little more.
I hate to say it, but you make a great point.
Thanks.
Race number 6. Race numero 6.
Numero?
Foolish Ghost going to just wire the field
That's
today?
what I'm hoping.
Yeah, he looks too easy, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He absolutely
Let's look at the
does.
last race he comes out of, but I think we need to see the start because originally I thought, boy, Instinctive Rhythm had no excuse in this race, a race he was heavily favored, and I think you and I both picked him. Not correct. This horse jumped up at the start and completely lost all chance at the start, and it would have been a different race. I don't care what he did in that race. I give him an excuse for there. Now listen, I'm not going to knock Foolish Ghost. He ran terrifically in here.
Yeah.
Morning Breeze, a little bit compromised by going down towards the inside, which wasn't the place to be in the late stages of the race, but he wasn't going to win anyway. He never wins. I can use him. I think Instinctive Rhythm bounced back wins today.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he would not surprise me at all. I mean, his day was over when the gates opened last time. So, yeah, I mean, I think for me, I want to use the 3 horses. I wish I could lean on Foolish Ghost. I don't trust Foolish Ghost enough. I'm going to use Rudy Off the Claim with sneakiness.
This horse was so bad.
I know he was.
Time.
I know he was.
He was absolutely.
I know he was,
brutal.
but he also got. You know, they kind of got run off his feet, Andy. When the Fast Happy Farm showed up.
Maybe he got run off his feet because he just didn't run. I mean, he could have been second in there, couldn't he have? You really? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a Rudy Off the Claim. I won't be surprised when he runs well.
Yeah.
You know, I liked him off his race 2 back, but he was bad last time. You know, he can win. I'm not. I can't.
I want to use. I mean, look, it's all the chalk, but I want to use 136.
I like Instinctive Rhythm. I gave him out in the subway last night on the way home.
Really?
Under pressure. Yes. Nobody was asking me.
Pressure?
Nobody was listening, and nobody asked me, but I stood up. I figured so many other people stand up and give speeches.
And torture you? How kind of pressure?
I don't want to get into it, but it was a high pressure. Ask Greg Wolf. He was with me.
Wow. Hold on a second. If you got a subway buddy with you, what kind of pressure are you under? Did you get surrounded by the Sharks or the Jets? What are you talking about?
It was Greg Wolf. We've made a pact. Neither one of us can defend the other one. Greg and I have a pact on the subway. It's called You're on Your Own.
Oh, my God. Wow.
I kid. Race number 7.
I got into a subway skirmish once.
Really?
I was drunk.
The Biagio's Rose. You know why I love Biagio's Rose?
Of course. Framed by Rivado.
Exactly right. That's why I'm mad at Vargas. Look what you did to my buddy.
How long have you been waiting to use that line? Like
I wasn't. It literally just occurred to me when I saw Biagio's Rose.
Great.
I just thought of that.
Good job. Nice job there.
I'm good on my feet.
Good job there.
So, Espresso Shot, New York Stallion Series. She runs this race. She's probably going to win. Does she get better with more distance? She's run okay at a mile in the past.
Yeah, she's run okay at a mile. She won the Busher at the mile 2 years ago.
I know Wasp has speed. Don't you just want to see this horse just... I thought she ran her best race for Johnny in here when he was aggressive from the start.
You're talking about Wasp?
No, Espresso Shot.
Espresso Shot.
She
just got to be in. She's got to be in the game. Yeah, she's got to be in the game. And this is a filly that they used to just rip to the back of the pack and roll. And last year in the Heavenly Prize, she showed speed for the first time. And you know, she's kind of been, when they got her back to the dirt and got her a little more distance, 7 a mile. She's just better when she's on the bit in the game. I don't think the mile's going to be a problem at all. Like I said, she won the Busher 2 years ago going the flat mile. So. Yeah, I can't imagine she's going to have any kind of issue.
You've turned on your buddy Love and Love. Now you got to go to her barn and bring her a peppermint. This is, I mean, just mean.
Last
I've
two,
at least got her third. You've got mad
Andy.
love for Love and Love.
The last
She's
two,
been so
Andy.
good to you. I know, I agree. Her last two have not been good.
I know, you know, we
They have
both
not been
agree
good. Her
that
last race was bad.
we both agreed at the 12th, maybe the track was changing a little bit, and I know she was wide for the final half of the race, but
Well, so was Custom Experience.
Yeah, right.
So was Customer Experience.
She was not good. I'll forgive the race in the mud.
Right.
Two back.
Well, you
but
could
can't
forgive the race in the
last
mud
one.
if she didn't have her last race. But once she
Absolutely.
has her last race, you can't forgive her race in the mud.
No, you can't. Now, listen, I didn't have a morning line. If you're telling me she's going to be the longest shot on the board,
I got a question.
I got to sprinkle her in some pick fours and pick fives.
You've got Wasp second. David's got her the second choice. What? Do I have a different set of PPs than everybody else?
No, listen, I'm assuming David.
I think she stinks.
Well, you're kind of bet. I know I'm picking her.
She just got up to be
picking
courageous
her.
girl.
I'm very well aware. I'm picking
So it's
her.
a timeless journey.
I'm picking her a little bit on the come. I'm curious as to whether or not.
If she was 15 to 1, you want to pick her on the come, but at 3 to 1, I want to book every cent under every pool.
I think this race is going to line up 6-3. I think Javier's going to be aggressive with her from the outside. I think they're going to get to the lead today. I think the race lines up 6-3.
Really nail those nail those paces.
I think the race lines up 6-3, and then
What's
she's
the
going to
difference?
find out. Well, I think she's going to have the run of the. We don't know. I don't think we know that yet.
We don't?
I don't think
Got a
we
pretty
know.
good resume to know it.
She's got 4 races.
She ran down
And she
Ella
caught
Rella
3
and
wet
Courageous
tracks.
Girl. Right, and her dry track race is the second slowest fig she's
Her
ever
dry
run.
track race is her debut.
It's the second slowest race she's ever
I
run.
understand that, but it's also her debut.
For
going
Todd
6
Fletcher,
and
a guy who
half.
never has a ready first time out.
She was 4 to 1 first time out,
Okay.
and was going 6 and a half.
Wasn't there an even like a 3 to 5 shot in that race or a 2 to 5 shot in
Yeah,
there?
but don't you think they're going to want? She was going to want more ground, and she's been better
Why?
with more ground. Well, her pedigree's telling you
Not
she's
really.
going to want more ground.
She wasn't better in her last start with more ground. She was barely better in her second start. She beat Lucky Girl in Portofino. This horse is running against horses that. Let me ask you a question. All seriousness. What price would Courageous Girl be in this race?
$1,000,000 to 1.
Okay. What price would Ella Rella be in here?
I just told you we're betting.
What price would Timeless Journey?
Huge numbers.
Anthony, though, if you're
They'd
betting,
all be huge numbers.
I got no problem with picking horses on the come at 8, 10, 15, 20 to 1. She is second choice in the line. It's Todd Pletcher. It's Javier Castellano. You are guaranteed to get an underlay on this horse, and you're picking her on the come. You can't pick horses on the come on short prices.
I put her second.
Right.
I'm going to lean on Espresso Shot today. Because I think Espresso Shot.
No critical value for you.
No, I don't like critical value.
I actually critical value ran well last time. That was a track that got very speedy late in the day, and she broke sharply, was taken back out of the race, was completely out of it, had to find a lane, had to find room. Today is the day. Now, I know, listen, I will fully admit, I've picked this horse a lot. I don't want to pick the same horse as you in every race in here. I think Espresso Shot is way the horse to beat. I don't like anybody else in this race. To me, it's Espresso Shot and critical value. I have no problem using those two in multi-race bets, and if I lose, I'm good.
You see, and I think that's
Wasp beats me.
Well,
I deserve to pay a penalty.
Right, that's the function of me having Wasp second is I don't like critical value. I think Love and Love's the wrong way. Yeah, let's do it. 2?
Oh, please.
Okay. 6 versus 5.
5 over 6. Yeah, that's the. I'm almost embarrassed on that one. It's not as embarrassing as your Intrepid Heart. You realize the most embarrassing lunch bet you ever lost to me, the Intrepid Heart, laying 1 lunch per length in the Peter Pan. When Intrepid Heart was running in claiming races, the winner of that race won the Woodward. Global Campaign was the horse that won the race. It was the Peter Pan.
Yeah, with 3-year-olds. Dude, there's a lot of revisionist history when you talk
Don't
about these old
revisionist
lunch
history.
bets.
Is there anything incorrect about what I said? You laid me a lunch a length.
Went on to win.
Just pointing it out.
Went on to run in claiming races.
Yeah, a year later, one of them won a grade 1 while the other one was running in claiming races. I'm just pointing it out.
It was easy the other day.
Was he? No, that's too bad.
But it was okay. It was a shoe issue.
That's okay. Oh, okay. Race number 8. Race number 8, most interesting race of the day. We'll start out with Mr. Buckley. At least there's 8 horses in here, dramatically bringing up the average field size today. This is race 2 races back in a wet track. Last time, he had no chance in there. He was running in a race he just couldn't win off a layoff against O Trouble. I just think he's faster than these horses he's supposed to win. I didn't want to do anything clever in here.
Taking the page out of your book, I'm taking the horse that was way against the track with a giant race last time.
We have his replay. We'll get to that.
Okay.
I'm just not doing anything clever. I just think this was a race. You remember the winner of this race? This was one of those horses for who's the trainer from out of town? The one with two big Lugovic. He went with the two huge price first-time starters. I bet the other horse that was closing into it actually, it was Hennig. He's the logical horse. He's the favorite. I'm not trying to beat him. As far as Triple Americano, we'll show his replay. He was much the best last time, wide against good rail. I have one problem with that race, and it's not that it was a maiden 25, but it's partly that it was a maiden 25.
That's got to be. I mean, that's my major issue with it, but I still took him today.
I don't buy that fig.
Okay.
I think that fig, even with the gold rail over the horse, is too high.
Well, I mean, Apex Predator hasn't run anything higher than a 60.
Now, having said that,
right?
even if the fig is a 58, when you consider this horse chased 4 wide the entire way around the race, 4 wide, 3 wide around the track, you could argue that maybe he could run a figure in the high 60s, and it's not like my horse is running big figures.
Right.
So, what about the firsters? You have a half. Who is winners laugh a half to? Don't.
Just go ahead.
You're Anthony Stabile. People expect better from you.
It's not
Amundsen.
Yeah.
Who's Amundson's sire? I wouldn't have got this one. I would never have gotten this unless if I hadn't looked up.
It's weird.
No, it's not weird. It's one of the best sires in the world. It's just not a horse you would think of as a bullet-fast sprinter that needs to lead. It's Curlin.
Really?
Yeah, I would never have gotten that if I hadn't looked it up. Yeah. What about the rail coming from Mark Reed? What's wrong with this horse? Do you want to use this horse?
Nothing.
Do you remember the dam? Do you remember the dam? Play with me. Name the 2 trainers for a free lunch with this horse. A free lunch on the line.
Play with me.
One of them was Kieran, but he wasn't the original trainer. Kieran had a lot of those horses for this NYKY, New York, Kentucky thoroughbreds.
So the other trainer, Linda Rice.
Sorry, Anthony. Nobody should ever say I'm not benevolent. At least try to be. Tony Dutrow. I wouldn't have got it if I hadn't looked it up. I remember it was Kieran, but I wouldn't have gotten. You know, and 2 of the 3 foals actually weren't that bad. They weren't, high-level horses, but they ran okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a giant fan of the 4-year-old first-time starters, but I'm picking a 4-year-old second-time starter, so. Got 3-year-olds in here, too. Keep that in mind. We started running the open races.
You know what I love about you? You've got voodoo for everything.
It's not voodoo, man.
You've got voodoo for everything. I got to tell you something. I never believed that you and I could have as much fun as we've had today. Let me quickly touch on Maxfield. I like Maxfield. He's a nice horse. He's just massively overrated. I think he ran fine yesterday in finishing 3rd. He's just not good enough.
I don't know, and I also don't know whatever gave anyone the idea that he was going to 110 furlongs. Like
he ran his race.
Yeah, but he kind of runs his race.
No, he ran against better horses. He ran his race. He ran a 9-9 buyer. He tied He tied the best buyer figure he ever got. He ran his race. He was running against some better horses.
I thought the Mystic Guide Maxfield argument was a laughable one.
It's silly.
The other horse might be the best older horse in training.
He's better than Max. And the other thing to be fair about Maxfield. This horse has had 2 real injuries in his career, and you don't know what he could have been if he never had injuries.
I'll tell you what I'd love to see them cut him back for a race like the Met Mile.
I said the same thing to somebody. That's
mile, 1-turn mile, one-turn races for him with his.
I just don't think he's good enough, but I think that's a better race.
He might not be, but you.
Why wouldn't they be thinking about that race?
That's what I'd be doing. When you have Mystic Guide. But the problem is Mystic Guide's going to go to Dubai, and he's
then we'll see him in the Whitney.
We'll see him in the Whitney. They'll run him in the Foster. They'll keep Maxfield the mile and the 16th mile.
They're not going to run him against Maxfield unless the 2 of them end up in the Breeders' Cup together.
No, that's what I said. They'll run.
Right, I'm saying unless they're in the Breeders' Cup together. Right. That's the only time.
Maxfield, what do you see him next? Probably see him next in the Ali Sheba Derby undercard.
Yeah, that seems.
2 turns. Right, and then it gives you the options. You have 5 weeks to the Met.
Naira Bets. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Become a member. Support racing in New York. Keep the money in the game. Play through Naira Bets. We'll match the 200. Looking good. Looking really good. What do we got? We got that $10 lab bet, 10 to win on Aqueduct or Oaklawn's last race, and if you run second, get your $10 back. And finally, America's Day at the Races, 1:30 to 6:30. I'll be on the first half, much of it with Maggie, as well as Greg Wolf. I'll be joining her in just not too long, so we're done. Johnny I, up next, the reprise, Scratch and Changes.